I'm originally from Congo, but my nationality is Belgian. I don't even like when people think that I'm British. I'm not. I know I'm Congolese. I'm an African girl.
No, I don't feel like I'm British. I don't know if it's because of my upbringing or because there's a kind of segregation. There is in London. There's a segregation, so you just feel more close to your country.
Well, darling, I was born in Jamaica, and at the time when I was born in Jamaica, I was British. But the British still don't recognize us.
I would like my child to feel British because she was born here. And
so during the Olympics, what flag were you flying?
Jamaica straight, of course, bold.
None of these responses may be a surprise, even though some of this year's black poster pin-ups of British pride are still making headlines. Mo Farah, Jessica Ennis, Nicola Adams. And this new patriotism is being debated by members of BrightBlue, the modernising wing of the Conservative Party. One of the many questions they're asking is, can this post-Olympic pride be used to tackle our tough challenges ahead?
If you want to encourage a sense of Britishness, ideally you need to make sure that black and minority ethnic communities have a strong sense of citizenship, and surely the prerequisite of that is adequate representation within Parliament and within the judiciary.
I think the word patriotism needs to be replaced by everything that related to the Olympics and everything that relates to this country. It should be replaced by one shorter word beginning with P, which is pride. And what the country showed was great pride in everything.
These discussions seem to suggest that Britain move away from so-called patriotism and more towards a sense of belonging. But there was acknowledgement of a need to look at deep problems in communities like youth unemployment. There was also mention of a need for minority ethnic people to move out of a victim mentality. One of the panellists was MP Kwasi Kwarteng, the co-author of Britannia Unchained. He says we're still struggling to wear two identities of black and British.
When I got onto the Conservative candidates list, there were no ethnic Conservative MPs, and that was in 2003. That was less than 10 years ago. All the Tory MPs were white. So I think we have made an improvement. And I think it's very easy to beat ourselves and say, you know, we're terrible, but we're not. We are getting moving in the right direction. I just think, you know, we could maybe do more. We should do more to redress that imbalance.
Do you think there's still a sense among our community that it's more about a tolerance rather than a welcoming feeling?
That's a very good question. I think, yes, I think it's more tolerance than welcoming, and I think there are still elements of British society which are suspicious of ethnic diversity. But I think over time that will become much less prevalent.
Suspicion around patriotism and multiculturalism is a challenge in itself, but not everyone here tonight was convinced that we're even close to solving it.
It was interesting, but we didn't broach the real questions which I should have asked myself in terms of education, the way people in the education system where it's totally biased it's whiteified, as we say, and no one was talking about how to change that. I identify myself, I've got to say, even though I pretend not, I am British, there's no two ways about it, but I'm Jamaican British. But when I'm abroad, you can check yourself by and how you comment on what other people say to you, and you'll see how British you actually are, really.
I don't know, I'm quite sceptical about the way that these guys have been talking about integration and multiculturalism. I'm Asian, but I'm middle class, therefore I have the resources, the powers to access mainstream things like university. But someone who's Asian and working class will not have that, and I think that's really important. It wasn't addressed at all tonight.
I haven't had trouble here in the UK. I've made the effort to integrate, I've made the effort to connect. I couldn't speak the language very well when I came here 12 years or so ago. I couldn't, and I realised I need to. I'm here now, this is home.
It's all well and good to argue for greater assimilation and everyone playing their part in society. But, a key part of inculcating citizenship is equality of opportunity and rights and access to the institutions in our society. So, a reasonable opportunity to stand for Parliament and as a local councillor.